This is Susan Cooper with Kamina Conversations about Migration in Northern Arizona, and I'm here today with my co-host, Stephanie Voss.
Hi, Susan. Today I want to share with you an interview I did with Eriko Hirokawa, who is the owner of Unsui Japanese Restaurant here in Prescott.
And what particular question were you addressing as you interviewed Eriko?
Well, I wanted to know what kinds of challenges and obstacles does someone have to overcome before they get to a point where they can even open a restaurant where we can go to have our Taco Tuesdays or our Sushi Sundays?
Well, let's go ahead and take a listen.
Welcome to the podcast, Kamina. This is Stephanie Voss, your host for the day. I'm here with Eriko Hirokawa of Unsui Japanese Restaurant in Prescott, Arizona. Thank you for joining me, Eriko-san.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We were talking a little while ago and I was having some equipment trouble, so we're starting again. And I was asking you a little bit about what made you decide to come to the United States.
Yes, so I was born and raised in Japan, Kyoto. And Kyoto is one of the old city of the capital. And I grown up just regular neighborhood, nothing bad. And I went to local school. I can walk to go to school everywhere.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
And you came to the United States, you were telling me, because you wanted to study something interesting.
That's right. Yes, I study sports medicine.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so after high school, I went to work for one of the bank in Japan, and I worked there for 3 years, but I didn't like it because I had something I wanted to do, which is like a sports athletic related job. I didn't know what it is, but always I wanted to work with like sports.
Were you also an athlete yourself?
Yes, I was.
What did you do?
Yes, so I did a little bit figure skate and gymnastics.
Wow.
So as a kid, I could run faster than everybody without any effort. Like study, I have to make effort to get a good score. But running, I didn't need to make effort. Just I did it. I could do that.
Yeah, you had a natural ability.
Yes, that's right. So that's why, that is the only thing I was good at. So that's why I wanted to go into that field.
And there were no sports medicine schools in Japan at the time?
That's right. At the time, no, nothing like that. So after I worked for bank, I went to go back to school for 2 years. So that is a sports-related school. So however, that school is to make sports instructor. For example, like swimming school instructor, like tennis coach, something like that. It's nothing related to medicine. So, at that time, I didn't have any idea what to do in a sports field. So that's why I went to school anyway. Yes, and then I read a newspaper article who study sports medicine in the US, and then she came back. I thought this is what I have to do.
Oh, and where did you come when you first came to the United States?
So first I landed Penn State. It's the middle of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
State college. So I landed from little airplane in the state college. Yes.
What was the biggest surprise about your first experience of the United States?
What was it? I don't know. I don't remember. I was just scared. Actually, a little bit scared, but maybe not much.
You were 25?
Yes. Yeah.
And adventurous.
Yes, I think so. I cannot do that right now.
Yeah, and you came all by yourself?
That's right.
When you first got to Pennsylvania, what did you miss most about Japan?
My family. but this is my decision. Nobody sent me. Nobody forced me to come here. I decided to come here, but I missed my family. Yeah.
That's a long way to go. You didn't get a chance to visit very often, I imagine.
That's right. Yes.
And what did they think about you making this move as a young woman?
I think my mom was so surprised. She never thought about it. I'm going out of country.
When you came to the United States, did you miss Japanese food?
Not much at that time. No.
What was your favorite thing to eat in the US?
Well, so my experience, what I remember is I went to Penn State, and it's a big football college. So there's a lots of dining hall, and there is a one dining hall for those football athlete, and that dining hall is especially for the athlete. And I heard later they made a especially good food over there. I went to there every morning and dinner time, and that was my surprise. So many food, and it's a buffet. Yes.
So your introduction to American food
Yes.
was as a buffet full of
Yeah.
many different things.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And after Pennsylvania, where did you go next?
So after Pennsylvania, I went to Indiana State, which has a very nice organized program for the sports medicine.
And did you practice sports medicine there?
Yes, I did.
You worked with figure skaters or everybody?
Oh,
Tell me.
okay. So in college, as a student athletic trainer, we have to work with a sports team, the college team. So the first year you rotate all the sports. And then second senior year, you are assigned to the team. And I was assigned to track and field.
Oh. So how did you end up in Arizona?
Well, and so after graduate, I took exam and I passed it. And then I sent a lots of resume. And then I got a job in Rochester, New York.
That's cool.
Yes. So, and it's a strong memorial hospital. They have a sports medicine department, and I work for them.
And how long were you in Rochester?
Rochester, 5 years.
And during this time, did you make friends here? What was it like being so far from home?
Yes. So actually, I was very shy too. So, and I was always scared to speak up, and because strong accent. So I didn't force myself to speak up. I was very, very quiet because I feel like there is nobody from other country. I was the only one who has a strong accent.
So you didn't have friends from Japan?
No, not really. In college, yes, I have a lots of Japanese friends. And once in a while we got together and we party, just the Japanese friends. But I feel I wasn't very integrated in the mainstream. No.
I think that would have been lonely.
Yes, maybe, but I was very focused about the study and to be an athletic trainer. Yes.
And your athletes were mostly from the United States.
That's right.
How did they respond to your accent when you talked to them?
Oh, okay. So some people are nice, and but some people actually, this is how I feel. If you don't speak up, they don't care. Yeah. So if you don't say anything, they don't look at you. They don't come to you to entertain you. They don't say, "Are you okay?" Yes.
Yeah. So it felt like your choice was either to be invisible or to be louder than you felt comfortable being.
That's right. Yes, yes.
But as a sports medicine
Yes.
provider, did they listen to you when you helped them?
Yes. So that's why I think I force myself to go to work, because as a student, you pay tuition. You are still a customer, you know. But when you go to work, you get paid. So you have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think I wasn't very comfortable. I did my best, but I wasn't comfortable.
And how did you end up moving from there to Arizona?
Yeah, so in Rochester, New York, I met my husband. So who is Japanese, kind of same experience like me, like born and grown up in Japan. And then I had a daughter, and then I don't know, I think maybe I think I found a reason to give up my career, like to care my daughter.
It sounds like maybe you're saying that you use that as an excuse.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Because it was more fulfilling to be home at that point than to try to work with people who found you difficult.
That's right. Yes, yes.
And what did Hori-san do?
So he's a sushi chef.
He was doing that then?
Yeah, so he was a sushi chef in Rochester, New York.
Trained in Japan?
Yes, that's right.
So you had your first daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and then did you come here?
Yes, so still when I had daughter, I work for the hospital, and I work as an athletic trainer. But as a trainer, I work in a clinic and take care of the patient, like seniors and some athlete. And then also we went to outreach. I went to high school, their athletic program. And they have a game on the weekend and Saturday night, like football, basketball. And so I have to work in the evening. So that was hard to find a babysitter.
Did you decide then to join your husband in the restaurant business? Or how did that happen?
So at that time, my husband, he was working, he started work Rochester, New York, but he has to go out of state. And he was a sushi chef in out of state. So I was just me and my baby.
Oh.
And then I was working full time. And when I had a game, I have to find a babysitter. And that was the hardest.
That sounds very lonely.
Yes, but again, I think I was focused to work, to be an athletic trainer. So it doesn't matter if I have a friend or not.
And you had your daughter. What is her name?
Her name is Shinobi.
Shinobi.
Yes.
And did you have your second daughter there as well?
Yes.
And what is her name?
Her name is Yuka.
Yuka.
Yes.
And they're now 26 and 24.
Yes.
And so that was some time ago.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how you ended up here in Prescott.
So because I had two daughters, and it's getting very hard. I was always worried about my daughter. And then I decided to quit my work. And then my husband found a job in Arizona. That's why I came to Arizona.
And had you been here before to visit, or
no?
What did you think when you got here?
So first I landed in Tucson, and I smell the Tucson. It's so dry. Yes.
Very different from both Rochester and Kyoto.
Yeah.
You were home in Tucson, and
Yes, yes.
Hori-san was working at a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
And how did you find Prescott?
Okay, so and my daughters, they are growing up and they have to go to school. And in a Tucson, the big kind of public school, I didn't like it.
Mm.
And then I found a little charter school in Prescott. That's why I came here. That was a Mountain Oak. So that time, my little one started kindergarten.
And so they grew up in Prescott mostly.
That's right.
First generation Prescott.
Yes.
And what was that like raising your family here?
I like Prescott because you have a 4 seasons and winter is nothing.
Yeah.
And also summer is nothing. So it's very nice and a smaller size.
It is.
Yes.
Also, I think a lot of people find that they meet people with their children's school.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
So,
Yes.
do you know other Japanese people here?
When I came to here, no, but like lots of people, I don't like they say, oh, I have a Japanese friend, and they introduced me the Japanese
Yeah.
people. So yes,
That's interesting. One of the things about this country is it has a reputation as a melting pot.
yes,
But in various times, people tend to find out people who are like themselves.
yes,
So there's always different neighborhoods or different places where people go. When my grandparents came to this country, the whole story was about assimilation.
uh-huh,
It was about trying to fit in.
uh-huh,
My grandparents didn't speak German to my father. My other grandparents didn't speak Polish or Yiddish to my mother. They wanted to be so English, so American. But it was also easier for them to pass because they looked more like everybody else.
mm-hmm.
And then I was wondering about that for your children.
Mm-hmm.
Do they speak Japanese?
So actually, that is a mistake I made, and I have that idea. So because I wasn't not really in a society, I wasn't in a melting pot. So I want my daughter to be grown up as an American. I think I didn't think much, so I didn't use much Japanese in house. So my daughters, they understand a little bit Japanese, but they don't speak good.
Yeah, I know that's something that, in retrospect, you can think that would have been smart, right? So they could speak 2 languages.
Yes, yes.
The interesting thing about talking to people in the restaurant business is that you ended up because your husband was trained in Japanese, you ended up working with him
Yes.
at Ansui, which happened only a few years ago. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So I didn't know anything about restaurant business.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it again. Like I didn't know anything about living in the US. That's why I did it. If I knew, maybe I scared everything and I didn't do it.
Ah,
And it's the same thing to come to US. I didn't know anything. So that's why I came.
the restaurant business is hard.
Yeah,
It certainly is.
that's right. But in a Japanese restaurant, at least my accent is not the bad thing. Because of accent, it's authentic. It's different. Yeah, so that's why finally I wasn't shy to speak up.
Oh, that's really interesting. Eriko-san, it felt like you didn't have to apologize for being...
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the other thing about having a restaurant is, I know a lot of people, if you come here from another country and you have an accent or you have another language and you become a doctor or you become a construction worker or you become something where it doesn't matter where you're from, you can integrate a little bit more easily, or you don't find yourself feeling so German or Japanese or Thai or whatever you are. If you have a job where your cultural background is part of what you're doing. I was thinking it would be harder to integrate and easier to hold on to your cultural identity. But what you found was it was actually easier to be you and to talk to non-Japanese.
Yes, exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yes, and also when I start to speak up, that is when I had a daughter. Because I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry, I think. Because when I see the baby, they can't speak. So I thought I have to speak up for her. So that's why I start to speak up. And my speak up is a kind of complaint. If you want something in Japan, you don't say much. You kind of wait quiet to be given. But here you have to say, I want to.
Yeah, you have to stand up for yourself.
That's right.
And it's so interesting that you were able to do that for your daughters.
That's right.
That's very mother lion.
Yes, that's right.
Do what for others what we can't do for ourselves.
Yeah.
And did it make you stronger?
Well, yes, at least I speak up. And I can say, I start to say what I want to. Before, I didn't say I want to. Yes.
In this culture, you're allowed, not only allowed to speak up, but you kind of have to.
Yes, that's right. I see. Yeah.
It's, are your girls shy?
Yes.
Also?
Yes, very shy. Actually, my older daughter, she speaks up for the younger daughter. Yes, because my younger daughter has autism. So my little one, she doesn't say much. So when my little one had some, I don't know how to say, if people doesn't handle my little one right, my older daughter says something. She's ready to say something. Yes.
She's the protector.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's sweet. Are they living near here?
So my daughter, older one is in Phoenix, and my little one is with me.
It's hard to have children with a challenge and to feel isolated.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have a support network?
Yes.
Do you have people who help?
Yes, actually. So my little daughter, she had autism, and the system in the US is very good, the supporting system. I don't think Japan has like this good system. Yes.
Well, I'm glad she got the help she needed.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the restaurant business.
Yes.
Ansui, I'll have to just go and say, is one of my favorite restaurants.
Thank you.
And it's very good food.
Thank you.
What has been the biggest challenge for you and Hori about having this restaurant?
Staffing and also training people, because all people different standard. Yes.
Yeah. And what has been the most satisfying thing about having the restaurant?
When customers are really happy with our food and the service, and when the staff did a good job, and when they are happy, it makes me happy too.
What is the first thing you want people to notice when they walk into the restaurant?
Okay, so again, the only difference this Japanese restaurant from other Japanese restaurant is the owner is me from real Japan. I think maybe there is no Japanese person in the area. The other Japanese restaurant, sushi restaurant, is from non-Japanese.
What kind of food do you eat at home?
At home, I think Japanese food.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Who cooks?
I cook. Yes. And also, I will always tell this story. When I grown up in Japan, the sushi is very expensive. So I remember I sat at the sushi bar just once in my life in Japan because the sushi bar is very expensive place at that time.
Mhm.
And the sushi restaurant doesn't have a price. There's no price list, no menu. So at the end, you don't know how much they are going to charge. So only the wealthy people could go. You order without knowing price. That is a like traditional sushi restaurant. And my husband was trained that kind of restaurant.
Well, it doesn't go over here.
That's right.
I guess I'm wondering, do you find the restaurant business satisfying?
Yes, because lots of challenge. And I think I realize I like the challenge. I like challenge and like to solve the issue.
You're a problem solver.
I hope so. I don't solve, but I like to think. I like to figure it out.
It is a challenge. It's
Yes.
very interesting. What kind of work does your older daughter do?
She used to be a high school teacher, but now she teach something different situation, not real traditional high school. It's not still teaching.
So you have that interest in education and in learning and in problem solving. I'm wondering if there's a particular moment in your life when Prescott began to feel like home to you.
Maybe I think when I start to speak up, when I don't care about my accent, I feel very comfortable. Yes, I think my strong accent was always my concern.
What do you think is the thing from Japanese culture that you would most like people from here to either adopt or understand?
So when I grown up, actually the Japanese people, they accept lots of idea.
Yeah.
So, but I grown up very homogeneous environment, but still, we don't, I don't know. Like, for example, in Japan, people saying there's a 800 of God. But some culture, some religious think there is only one God. But in Japan, there is so many God. And we don't fight who is number one. So I think that was very nice idea.
So there's a kind of tolerance for different ideas.
Yes, yes.
That's also might be a good thing. And what is the one thing about American culture that you wish Japan would adopt?
Okay, so more open in the US, and they don't worry much. But in Japan, the people worry for the future a lot. Yeah.
And which do you think is the good thing?
Well, I think if you worry too much, you don't try anything. You go to a safe way. So, for example, lots of people in Japan, they want to work for government because it's a stable work.
So the entrepreneurial spirit is much more American.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been doing a little bit of research for this podcast. And we found out that immigrants and the children of immigrants, so people who come from other countries and the children who were the first generation born here, start businesses almost twice as much as people who are born here.
Really?
And I think there's a few reasons for that. One is that sometimes there's a barrier to employment for immigrants. Either sometimes people don't have the correct education or the language skills, or they're afraid of dealing with authority. There's some things that get
Yes.
But the other thing I think is that to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a risk taker
That's right.
and an adventurous spirit.
Uh-huh.
And you certainly have that.
That's right. Exactly. I'm a gambler.
That's also part of Japanese culture too, isn't it?
No, it's not. When I came to US, I didn't think anything. So I just saw something good. But I brought all my saving, everything. And I wasn't scared of anything.
You planned to stay when you came.
Yeah, kinda. I told my parents I will come back in 4 months. And I'm here still.
Did you ever get a chance to go back and visit?
Yes, just a few times, very few times, maybe 2 or 3 times. Because once I'm here, it's financially it's very difficult for me. Yes, so
It's a big trip.
yes,
Did they ever get to come here?
yes. When I had my daughter, my mom came.
Is there anything that you would like people to know about either you or Ansui or people who come from Japan?
Okay, so I didn't study much, anything. I just did what I wanted. So I don't know anything about the other country, other people, but at least as a Japanese, I didn't need to come to US. But some people, they are looking for better life, and so they have to make it in the US. But I had a choice. If it didn't work, I had a choice to go home. So I was very easygoing. If it didn't work, I said I go home. So when I finished my college, I decided until I have no choice because it's so difficult to get a visa and a status.
So you stayed as long as you could.
That's right.
Work.
Yes, that's right.
Well, we're awfully glad to have you here. And one thing we're also asking, we're giving some people some facts about our friends who come from other countries, and also what's one thing they can do to make you feel more welcome?
I think just to talk to, I don't know, maybe you have to know the background. Otherwise, you can't give right support.
So to be curious.
Yes, I think so.
So you don't mind if people ask you questions?
I don't mind.
No?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. And what do you think do people try to speak Japanese to you?
So that case, well, I think right now lots of people go to Japan. I'm very proud, and then they like Japan. They enjoy. And I was very proud. I was grown up over there.
Well, I'm glad that you brought not only your food and culture, but your adventurous spirit here to Northern Arizona. Thank you, Eriko, for taking the time to talk to us today.
Of course. Thank you so much.
So, Susan, what did you think?
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for that interview. I really appreciated hearing her story. You know, she has such a shy voice, yet when you hear what actually occurred throughout her life, she was brave every step of the way. And that really goes to answering our question, at least in her situation, everything that she had to overcome to get to that point where she was going to be able to open the restaurant and be successful.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about getting to know Eriko was how fierce she is and how courageous. I love that she just jumped right in and actually thought if I had known how hard it would be, I might not have done it. That I recognize that sense. I also really loved learning how stepping into her identity as a Japanese woman was so much easier when she was doing something that culturally represented her country. So she didn't feel like she was trying and failing to fit in, but that she was free to actually be herself.
And I would think a lot of our listeners, especially those who have those ties to whether it's that they are foreign born or maybe they're first generation, where is it about assimilation or is it about finding a situation where you can embrace your heritage and be able to excel and flourish because of it?
Yeah, it's something I've always kind of wanted to ask you about, Susan, on a personal level, if you don't mind my putting you on the spot here, because I know that one of the things you're doing recently is learning Spanish better than you already know it. And I think I've seen in you a change since you've embraced that part of your identity. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, okay. You are putting me on the spot, but I'll take the moment. I think for me, it's one of those things that I've always struggled with, and I think it's anyone who has strong ties still to their heritage, in that there is the aspect of, yes, we need to assimilate because, I live in the United States and born and raised, and actually so were my parents. But I know that the language is an important part of my history. And I think in the past, I sort of separated that, and now I'm finding an opportunity to embrace it. And that comes by, for me anyway, it's through learning the language.
And that brings us to the part of the episode that we like to call 2 Facts and an Act. And the first fact related to what we were just talking about now is that Japanese is the 17th most common language spoken at home in Arizona as of 2021. And I thought it might be interesting for our listeners to hear what the other top 16 were in order. And that's Spanish, Native American languages as a group, Chinese, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Arabic, French, then German, Hindi, Somali and related languages, then Korean, Gujarati, Russian, Italian, Portuguese, and Telugu, all before Japanese.
That is interesting. I'm not surprised by the top 2, but the others are interesting to me to hear the list. Now, I hear you have a delicious piece of information as well.
I do. The second fact for this episode is that it's not just people like us who enjoy the food from other cultures and getting to know our immigrant neighbors, but having restaurants as cultural ambassadors goes back to something called gastrodiplomacy, which began seriously in 2001-2002 with a global initiative by Thailand that sent out and supported people in opening Thai restaurants around the world. This has been so successful, it's been adopted by other countries, including South Korea and Peru. Governments support their citizens in launching these restaurants and have found it increased tourism, global cooperation, and even a growth in their agricultural sales, so people can buy the correct ingredients.
That it really is interesting. I was totally unaware of that, but thank goodness they did, because I do love Thai food.
And that brings us to the act. Susan, would you like to suggest one?
Sure, absolutely. Try a food from one of the places that you've been to, or try a new place, and just be more adventurous when it comes to these foods from different countries.
Thanks. My suggestion is to try a dumpling. There's dumplings in almost every single culture, whether it's wonton or pierogi or Japanese gyoza that you can try at Unsui, Eriko's restaurant in Prescott. There's always something with dough filled with meat or vegetables and either steamed, fried, or boiled. Anyway,
and even the empanada.
Oh, I almost forgot the empanada. Yes. One of my favorites. Oh, and at the farmer's market here in Prescott, they have those African samosas, which are a cross-cultural treat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And now we wanted to invite you to check out our resource page on our website, www.podcastcamina.com.
And make sure when you visit our site, you not only listen to this episode, obviously, but any of the past episodes you're welcome to listen to, as well as making sure that you keep the conversation going by including your own comments and requests being placed on our email list so you can receive notices about any upcoming episodes.
a place where contradictions meet. Deserts of sand, mountains of snow. To make it our home, there's a long way to go.